at least in our times, even now I think in most homes, African homes at least, because discipline has a component of preventative. So there's preventative discipline and then there's corrective discipline. So in corrective is where the punishment comes in. And I don't know about your homes, so this is what I want to ask you. Whose role is it ideally to punish? Because preventative usually is for the mom. The mother is the one always who guides. They are mostly with their children. Things like that.
And they even say, wait for
they're
daddy.
not shaping you as you go on. There was that statement before. Okay. So in your homes, what dynamic is that? Like, how is punishment done at yours? And how do you do it?
To me, when it gets to punishment, if they hear Linda say that, you know it is beyond. It is High Court. It's Supreme Court. And when I come out and I say, I heard my wife saying my name.
What happened?
You withdraw the case.
Mandela will immediately say, Daddy,
You withdraw the case.
you know withdrawal. The moment she says this is beyond me, one thing in my house, my wife is me. You don't put a lot of democracy and thought. And people who use a lot of English in homes are the ones that bring in this kind of bit of democracy at home. I'll give you an example. If Madla is playing in the sitting room and will come to, to visit you, they'll be playing and you tell them, you Mandla, you can play from outside. We have guests. Because you've used English, they will say, but Dad, I want to play from here. But me and my home, Mandela Muti, they move. Standard. That is how it goes. So when it gets to punishment, by the time they call the father, it has gotten out of hand.
I see.
And I learned this from my father. One day I saw my father with one of my sisters to pub because my mother called her and she came when she was hitting her lead. He jumped out of the bedroom like an angry lion. Like he beat her so bad, and it was my mother to pull her away. And I told him, what was wrong? He said, when you grow up, you protect your wife from your children, from your relatives, and from your friends. No one messes up with your wife. So there are levels. By the time it gets to daddy, you failed this game. Now it is the Supreme Court and there is no withdrawal. And when you get here, you're going to abide. So by the time they say, Mandela knows there is grounding coming. And when they report you on Friday, you have issues. Because it will go up to Sunday morning. It is that standard. You don't watch movies with us too lady. Now you see that Bambi is what breaks him that he comes back and say, I am very sorry. And if I don't find it fitting to forgive, he will go to the matter. And that's what I want. He knows that the only way to get to this man to become soft, I must talk to my wife. So when he talks to my wife, he knows the hierarchy.
Both of us, we are justices of the
Okay, all right.
If mommy catches you,
it depends on who has found you at that time.
Who has found out that you've done something, they deal with it and finished. Dad will deal with it, will learn about it and say, can you imagine he did this? So they know that both of us know that there was a problem, but my wife will chapa you, they know mommy will chapa you, dad will chapa you. Or will sit down and talk to you and say, we do not do this. Both of us appreciate that it's very good to bring up children the right way. One, I think it's a favor that we do to our country, but also to the children, because I personally meet adults and they be like, but this you could have learned from home.
I know.
Or there's also a cost to bringing up indisciplined children. I know a person who had to repair a car and a wall fence because no one tells the children that don't touch the car. If it's daddy's car, then they'll touch it. If you tell them, so these children were playing and the person said, don't play with the car. And the kids just rolled the car. These automatic cars rolled the car and the thing hit the wall. Now it's just, not really my friend, someone I know.
Someone you know.
Someone I know. Chama, we agreed. We have very good friends.
Okay.
But Imagine the cost of having to, or even losing the children themselves because, So there are gadgets that children know they don't touch because they are daddy's or mommy's gadgets. Don't touch them. Parents now, you find at home you're fixing a fridge, you're fixing a phone all the time because your children cannot understand that you don't touch them. I mean, discipline creates some boundaries and say, we do not break the fridge because it costs us money. And for us, like when it comes like to gadgets and breaking things, I have had my sons actually pay. Like, so actually right now, one of our sons owes me 5,000 shillings because he spoiled an HDMI cable, a TV cable, right? So they have their pig banks. So when they break something, we have a conversation. If I'm not in the mood for champering you, I feel there's a learning moment, I'll tell you, now you're going to pay for this thing. Do you have money? Because I just bought it with money and I don't have money to buy a replacement. And we need it because we use it to watch TV. So where is your piggy bank? He goes and brings. Of course you'll see sadness. You'll see sadness in his face.
That's the thing.
The money that Jaja just gave me, I'm now just losing it like that. But paying for it makes them have that pain that I cannot do it again. It's a learning moment that there is a cost to indiscipline. If I do something that's outside the boundaries of normal behavior, then there is a problem. So I mean, I'll lose something. I'll lose a privilege. I'll get some pain.
That's good. Not really nothing. You've summarized it quite well. In my home, both my wife and I, whoever gets you in trouble, doing something wrong, you're punished, and the punishment depends on what you have done. So for some things you'll get a scolding, for some things you'll get a spanking. Even the spanking, there are levels. There's where you'll get two chibokos. There's where you'll get 10 chibokos. Then of course there's the grounding. And yes, once in a while you're denied certain privileges. So for example, no soccer. No going out to play soccer this weekend. Stay at home. Stay at home. And so those are the different ways that you would use for disciplining and for punishment.
Something I've always wanted. Actually, this is perfect for me now. What did our boys ever do to you? Fathers, why do you I feel like your punishment to boys is more heavy-handed than to girls. And I'm going to give an example here. Okay, so Michael has only boys, so I can see he can only be talking. But when I hear now Kyamagero talk, Mandela, I say Mandela do this, Mandela that, Mandela this, Mandela. So I feel like it's like, and you shared the story earlier with us, and I wanted to share it also maybe with the viewers, because and then. Like, I don't know what it is. Even with our parents, I remember I have a brother, and if I could remember, we could do the exact same thing, my brother and I. But my brother, they would go looking for a stick of somewhere just for him. So our sweet boys, what did they do to you?
I think it has got more to do with, and I think maybe yours might be a unique case, but most of the time, it's the boys who are crossing the boundaries.
Okay, maybe.
And that's because really, by and large, it's in the boys' nature. You know, you draw a line for them, they want to cross it. They want to cross it. Generally speaking, for the girls,
that I understand.
You draw a line there. You tell them don't cross that line. By and large, you won't have to do anything beyond telling them. But for the boys, you tell them don't go out of the gate. They will go out of the gate. Don't do this. They will do it. So
I agree.
So it's not that you are harsher on the boys. It's that most of the time it's the boys who end up in more trouble than the girls. But also, I think as a father, you're trying to raise up your sons to be responsible adults who are going to go out there and be very, very responsible as well. So you're trying to instill in them that expectation, because they are perhaps unfairly more a representation of you, the dad, than the girl is. If the girl gets up into trouble, we'll tend to say, the mom, But if the boy, the boy gets into trouble at an older age, then you attribute that to the dad.
So
so that the boys are your direct extension as a guy. And by the way, on the reverse.
So is it because you see that trouble in you and you're trying to control it?
Yes, of course, there is that trouble in you. You're trying to control it. But also on the reverse, I think, and I know of cases where mothers were also harder on girls than on the boys.
This is
so
true.
I think it's really that dynamic that as a father, your son is a reflection of you. And so you really try to make sure that you have the best reflection out there. And as a mother, your daughter is a reflection of you, and you try to have your best reflection. So you'll definitely tend to be, as a mother, you'll be more hard on your daughter, and as a father, you tend to be a bit harder on your son. Yes.
But naturally, boys are hunters. You tell them don't do this, they'll go ahead and they do whatever they want to do. And we believe that boys have the brain to see where the danger is. And they adamantly go there. So if in this house something went wrong, I first ask, Mandela, how did this happen in your presence? Boys are extension of our lives. Because in the instant, and that's why I keep telling him, in the absence of me in this home, you're in charge. So I cannot allow someone who is in charge to be a mediocre, who is not grounded with the values and norms, someone who is weak-hearted. So I make sure that I bring you up that you become stronger than I. Me, I grew up whenever we had all parties where we had to attend, my dad would say, Andrew, go again, so they would say, we have a speech of Mr. And we'll all stand and they'll give you the mic to speak on behalf of our house. So boys, we have to be hard on them for that part. You've seen men who wail. You've seen men who be there, they're like, oh my God, how could he? What kind of man is that? You women, you've been online saying,
and we don't
the
want
guy is so good, the guy is educated, but the guy, you can't
when the thief comes, he's in the cupboard with you.
You can't find that manlyhood in him popping up. Now, we don't want our sons to meet your daughters and then this kind of mode.
Oh, thank
and
you.
of course, we are nice to the women because girls are treasures, girls are lilies. We have to treat them that way. They have to be raised as queens that when they find men who are, let me tell you, women marry their fathers.
Yes, that's true.
Women marry their fathers. They will look at a man who has at least 70% attributes to their fathers.
True.
And they'll go with that. Yes. And they will say, you know, there's some things he does that's so direct like my father. If they didn't see their father, they will try to find some elements. And when you see their kids, one of the aunties will say, somehow it will pop. Now the mothers are very close. You know, anything bad falls to the mother. If he goes to school and reads wrongly, if it's a girl and gets pregnant, they won't even say that mwana wa Kyamagero olubuto. Mwana wa Linda. So that's why mothers, the moment actually a girl gets to puberty, the mothers are tough to the daughters. And the fathers are like, fathers are more calm when the girl is in puberty stage, and the mothers are like, they're like co-wives. They pass through the corridors and it's like, and you're like, and the mother will tell you bluntly, check and you're like, it's okay, it's a stage, we understand
it's a stage.
So those are the dynamics. You want to raise a woman, you can extend your values. And you see them in her. Me, I want to see a man better than I am when I grow old.
Okay, okay. So I kind of,
now you know.
Yeah, now I've understood. And it's so as we try to wrap up, we on Bampla had a situation and where so I need your perspective as dads on other people outside family, outside your circle, punishing your children. So I'll just give you a quick scenario of what happened when we were talking the last time. So a lady, you know how you stay in apartments, you know, you have different families in apartments. You have one parking lot for all your vehicles. And then somebody's child comes and writes things on your car, the neighbor. You go one time, you talk to the child, tell the child, hey, this child is of understanding age, reasonably. You take the child up to the parents and you tell them this is what happened and A, B, C, D, E. And the parent seems nonchalant about it, you know. You spray your car. You come back the next day. Same story.
With a nail.
With a nail, over a stone, over a what. You come, child doesn't even deny that they did over what. It's not even an issue of maybe the child did not do. Chick chapas, chui, chui, chui. It has never happened again. But there's now animosity between the parents. So as dads, what is, because we got, yeah.
You go first.
What?
Why then put it on Kankano?
Michael, what in that scenario, your neighbor comes and they've chapad your child over something like that. Not small matters. Something. So what is your thought on somebody else outside authority? We're not looking at teachers, we're not looking at an auntie or a family member. No, someone as a neighbor.
I was raised by a community. If anybody saw me doing something, they would deal with it. I went and picked their jackfruit from, you know, when you study up country at lunchtime, you may not have a meal at home, at school. So you go to the next garden and pick up a jackfruit or something like that, a sugar cane and eat it. If they got me, they beat you, right? I also grew up in an extended family. Where any uncle could deal with you, right? They find you doing something silly,
they deal with you.
So for me, it's a normal thing to see another person who is not the real parent, the parent of the child, punishing them. I have had very embarrassing situations. One time, before I even got married, I was living in this compound and there was this boy, I think about 4, 5, and would abuse his mom. You know that, eh? Beat him. So one day he did it. He said, "Mom, you are stupid." I got out of my house. I told the mother, "You are going to beat this boy because he's going to meet my daughter and he wants to marry."
Yes. That's the thing.
"Mom, you are stupid." So I held the legs. I held the hands. The mom held the legs, and we chapped the boy. I ended up being the best uncle. So in this scenario, I involved the mom. I said, "Please come.
I see.
This person we are raising not for ourselves, for our society."
Yes.
If my children did something wrong, and my neighbors actually would know that, if my children did something wrong, they would actually report to me because they know that I am going to do something about it. I am going to punish them. So first thing I ask them, have they done it? If indeed they have done it, if they say they have not done it, then that's a different story. If my son has said he has not done anything, he has not done it. But if he has done it, then they know I'll punish. So, but in this situation where the parent is not bothered, you of course end up, for your sanity's sake, your car, because there's a cost now. Someone is scratching your car, and then you've painted it, then it scratches your car again. So obviously you have to take some action. So there, it's a bit delicate. Depends on the kind of neighbor that you have. Delicate? You know what I mean? It depends on the kind of the neighbor that you have, because you could actually get.
This is about the child.
No, you could get reported. You could get to police for assaulting. Someone's kid. Yes.
Yes. So I can't just go around abusing the law. So because when they do that when they're children, they'll grow up into adults, and now the country will deal with a big problem of lawbreakers who do not care whose money, whose car. You've seen them on the streets, right? The way we drive, you'll be like, where did these people grow up from? Because they had homes where they had to learn that roads are to be shared. So we must really be very careful as we push for children's rights, try to give our children a comfortable life. We must also know that there's a cost to indiscipline, and that we must really help the state. We have the responsibility to help the church, the state, to bring up children who are well behaved.
And just chipping into that, we have moved from one extreme where I remember when I was in secondary school, you actually had teachers who could cane you
to pulp
100 chiboko. 100 chibokos.
In one state.
No, it is one of the top schools. Let me not mention the name. Actually, not Catholic, but one of the top schools. You get 100 chibokos, and so that is extreme. Then we have moved to the extreme of 0 chibokos. So both people need to appreciate that both are extremes. 100 chibokos is extreme, but also 0 chibokos is extreme. There at certain points in time, there must be disciplining with, or if you want to call it corporal punishment, but with the rod. It must be that, but it's simply that you have to do it moderately and wisely. As simple as that.
And then, you know, when you say wisely, we really have to be very, very careful, because there are people who hate certain things because they were given to them as punishment or as a way of disciplining them. Because some schools, for example, they'll take you to the garden. So gardening is a punishment, you know.
Which is wrong.
They take you, even at home, you are going to do the dishes because you did this. I mean, doing the dishes is a normal
thing. It's a normal thing. It shouldn't be a punishment.
Yeah, they should
be part of your daily program.
Be a rota that today you wash dishes, tomorrow you clean the house. So we have to be really very careful that as we discipline, as we punish, we also are careful not to create hatred for certain things that would be very helpful for people when they actually grow up. Like doing chores should not be a punishment.
Which is why the chiboko solves all problems. Because, I mean,
but not always.
It's the chiboko. There's not always about it.
Well, yes. So there we have it. This conversation can go on and on and on. And I'm so glad that you, the fathers today, that you were able to join us and give us your perspective from this show, and I'm sure
you always keep us in the kitchen when it comes to these shows.
Today we brought you to the sitting room. So that is it from us. At the end of the day, you know, discipline shapes behavior. Punishment corrects misbehavior. So in our homes as parents, we need to find a balance between the two, both, and implement them as effectively as possible. Because at the end of the day, we're not raising children for ourselves. We're raising children for the society, to be in the society tomorrow. And it's easier to raise a disciplined child today than repair a problematic adult tomorrow. So to all the parents out there, do your part. Raise a great nation, not a problematic one. And if you're looking for a place to engage with your children, engage with your loved ones and your family, Kampala Serena Hotel is the place to be. They have a fantastic brunch for 110,000 shillings for adults and 65,000 shillings for children. So when you just want to enjoy a nice family time, you know.
With no punishment.
With no punishment. Yes. When you're rewarding your children
for good behavior,
bring them to Kampala Serena Hotel. There's brunch every Sunday from noon. So that is from us to you, our dad edition. We'll see you next time. With love from Bump Love. Bye-bye.